Hey friends, Hattie from Honeybee Stampers here. In today's video, I am going to walk you through the 6 projects that I created for my Sweet and Simple card class that I hold every month here in the Honeybee Stampers studio in Sumter, South Carolina. These cards are adorable. They feature different stamp sets, and for this particular month we kind of did a little bit of all the holidays. So I'm going to walk you through these projects so that those of you who ordered this kit to go can view this video and watch how I put the projects together. And of course, when I'm designing, I always try to keep in mind that maybe the people who get this to go don't have all the products that I actually use. And so I'll kind of give you some tips where you can substitute with something that maybe you already have. If you do fall in love with the card and you want it to look exactly as I've created it, then you can definitely hop onto my online store and purchase the products that I used. So let's get started. At the in-person card class, everybody gets a card kit that looks like this. And inside are all the pieces to create their projects. So I'll just grab the first one off the pile here and we'll start putting this together. So this one, if you can guess just by looking at the pieces here, is holiday themed. Halloween themed, I should say. Halloween themed. So we're going to make a fun box. When you get this card kit in the mail, you're going to have all of the pieces already scored for you. So these score lines that I'm folding and burnishing right now are already done for you, just to make your crafting so much easier. Okay, so that is the base of our card. And I'm going to take some tear and tape. Excuse my voice today. I have come down with a cold that I'm assuming I got from my son. He just started school and he's just been sick ever since he started, which I was told is to be expected. But yeah, now I've got it. So let's just take off that adhesive there. Okay, and then if you fold it over, it should fold over perfectly. So now this is going to be the front of the card. I put the seam in the back, the front of it is here, and I'm just going to kind of set that to the side. I'm going to sit down for this project. Okay, so this is some designer series paper that's part of the host paper in our annual catalog. And I'm going to feature this stamp set with this card called Scary Cute. It's really adorable. Now I want these pumpkins to be orange so that they coordinate with my card here, my card base. So I'm going to take a sponge dauber and I'm just going to daub over. And actually, I just had this card class, so I probably should have re-inked all my ink pads because, oh, there we go. There's some ink there. We had a good number of people this month, which is exciting. My next Sweet and Simple card class is actually at the end of November. It's going to be the weekend after Thanksgiving, and I'll be offering it to go as well. So if you're watching this and this is something you're interested in participating, just kind of, I think the registrations are actually already up on my website, honeybeestampers.com, and then also on my Facebook page, Honeybee Stampers. So you can get on there or my group and register for November. Okay, so I just wanted to add that orange there. Okay. We'll do the same thing here. I should have probably had this already done. Okay, there we go. But maybe if you're watching this, you can kind of follow along with me. This video tutorial is meant to be so that you can watch the video and you can actually pause it and create the card and then come back and replay or play it again and continue on. A lot of times with my events that I do, I write a tutorial up, but for the Sweet and Simple, I do not. So now, sponge daubers are so fun. I did this card, actually, oh, I missed a pumpkin. I actually did this card for one of my team events. We have a team meeting each month and we do some mystery stamping each month. And so I did the same card, but I made it purple. I'll show it to you in just a minute. Actually, here it is right here. This is the card that we're creating and you can see how it stands up like that. So I made this with my team as part of our mystery stamping. And I used a blending brush to be able to cover all of that in purple. So there's that. Okay, let's grab some adhesive. And you're just gonna place these panels on the front. On the back side, you could put white cardstock if you wanted to write a message or something. I just personally left it blank. There you go, okay. And we'll come back to that base of the card in just a minute. I'm gonna bring in these pieces here. These pieces are die cut from the dies that coordinate with the Scary Cute bundle. And I've already die cut them for you, so you guys can just have them ready to go. So if you don't have this stamp set, you could actually use another stamp set if you wanted to. Now what I'm gonna do in the class, I actually had my Stamparatus loaded up so that they could use either the little boy or the little girl. Since I have the little boy here, let me see, what did I do on this card? I did the little boy there. I'm gonna do the little girl. So let me set this to the side. So I set this up for them already so that all they had to do was take the white cardstock. And these magnets are so strong, okay? And I'm just gonna stick it up in the corner. And actually I'm missing a step. You could, oops, you could do it either way, but let me show you one quick step. So something you could do first is take the crushed curry ink, and then we're going to take a little blending brush. It looks like this, okay? Ink up your blending brush and you're just gonna tap off a little bit so you don't have that strong splotch of color. And then I'm just gonna, in a very circular motion, go around my cardstock here and add some color. And you could make this as dark or as light as you'd like it to be. Add just a little more color. There we go. I like to kind of do that before I do my stamping because I don't want to smear the ink. Alrighty, let's bring the Stamparatus back in here. So then we're going to place this. Let's get our magnet over the top of it to hold it in place. Okay, now our Memento black ink, unfortunately, looks like this, does not always give the darkest black color, right? Sometimes it'll like leave little splotches. And so if you use the Stamparatus, and I'm just gonna stamp my stamp straight down. I can't decide if I wanna sit or stand for this. Okay, so you can see that she's not as dark of a shadow as I'd like her to be, or a silhouette. So let's add a little more color. Okay, and then it's getting there. Let me just do one more. And the Stamparatus makes it so easy for you to be able to apply that color over and over again. Isn't that great how that turned out? All right, let's move this off. Okay. Set this to the side. Alrighty. So what you're gonna wanna do next is add this piece using some liquid glue. So I'll just use our green glue or our multi-purpose Tombow glue. And you're just going to add a little bit. Okay. Just shake it down. Sometimes it feels like there's not much glue in this, but if you give it some time to get to the tip, you'll see that there's plenty of glue in there to use. Okay, so just a little bit of glue goes a long way with this green glue, and you don't want any of it oozing out because it is sticky glue, and when it dries very tacky. So you don't want any of this oozing out on your project. And so I'll add a little bit of glue here also on the branches. Okay. And then we'll just take this and place it, I need a little contrast here, place it right over the top. Oopsie. Okay, there we go. There's our focal piece. Don't you just love that? I love the glow from that crushed curry. Now the next thing we're gonna do is let's stamp the sentiment. I had stamped my sentiment in the orange, but I saw one of the other stampers that was here stamped her sentiment in black, and I really liked the way that looked. So I'm going to do that too. So Love at First Bite is the one that I'm going to use. There's several different cute sentiments that are part of this stamp set, and they all fit within this little banner, so you could use any of them. Okay, so Love at First Bite. Let me just kind of eyeball it, stamp straight down. Oh, I'm very happy with that. Okay. Got that done. Now you need these two pieces here. I've already scored them for you, and you're just going to fold them in half. Okay, this is what's going to have, this is the mechanism you need to be able to pop the card, this focal piece, up on your card. We also have this cute little moon. Let's stick the moon on with some dimensionals. If I don't have my little small dimensionals handy, then I'll just cut my dimensionals like that. Okay. And we'll just stick that moon right there. Okay. Now for this one, I'm going to use a little bit stronger adhesive. So I'm going to use the tear and tape for this as well. And I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive back here. You could use your liquid glue if you wanted to. Okay. And we'll do two more. Peel this off. All right, so where you want your focal point to be, you're going to kind of place these little tabs there. So we're going to put one down really close to the seam. Try to get the second one down. Just like that. Okay. Now you are going to need some adhesive on this as well. So let me just do a little strip right there. And one right here. I need my take your pick tool. I didn't grab it. I should have. To get up underneath that sticker here, that backing. Okay. There we go. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure this is flat, make sure these are flat, and you're going to place your focal piece right on top. Okay, exactly where you want it. Now you may have some of it kind of showing on the sides, and so what I told people is just to trim it. Super simple. You can hold it like that and then just trim off the side there. There you go. And I have to do it on that side as well, but you guys get the point. So when you stand this card up, when someone gets it from you, they'll stand it up and it'll stick out like this. So how cute is that? And then here is my little sentiment, and I'll just pop this up with some dimensionals as well. Grab one more. Okay, Love at First Bite. I love it. There we go. There's your first card. For the purple one, I actually put some little embellishments on it, so that's fun. So you could do that with this one as well. All right, let's move on to our next project. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the card. So this is our next card, a very simple card. Okay. The only ink that I used was Evening Evergreen. The stamp set that I used is this one, Hope and Peace, and it's got all these gorgeous sentiments on it. I've used this stamp set so many times for different card making. You're going to take the soft succulent base and just fold it in half. Okay. And then you're going to take, there's some designer series paper that's cut for you. A lot of people had a hard time putting this side down because it was so pretty. But you're just going to kind of line it up so that you've got a border around the edge there. And then I've already die cut this piece for you using one of our beautiful embossing folders. And we're gonna put this on the top half so that it's kind of, there we go. Okay, so that's the start of our card. You'll have a strip of this evening evergreen. That adhesive was probably overkill there, but you're just gonna put this across the seam, like so. Now, when you empty out your envelopes, make sure you're really careful, because a lot of times your gems will be in the bottom corner of those envelopes and you might miss it. Okay, so here's some designer series paper. This designer series paper is from the Hollyberry. I think that's the name of it, but the paper is gorgeous. And this is just such a unique color scheme. I loved it. It just spoke to me. So that's why I designed with that. And then we're going to put this on with some dimensionals. Let's go ahead and do that. I always go back and forth with my designing. Am I going to stamp everything first, or am I going to build the card from base up, which is typically what I do. So I'm trying to figure out, I wonder what the most efficient way of stamping would be. So there we go. Now we've got our base. You guys will have to let me know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Now here we go with the sentiment. I really liked the sentiment, "The weary world rejoices." So I'm going to use that again. Open up our evening evergreen ink. The other color that coordinates with this is this soft succulent. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a tip that I had to give to a couple people, is that when you're stamping, the amount of pressure that you need on our foam pad. So if you place this stamp on your pad just like that, that is the amount of pressure you need, no more than that. And so all you need to do is pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down, kind of lightly tap it on the ink pad. And then when you've done it just right, you're going to have ink only on the sentiment, and not all over the block and not all over the red rubber. So kind of keep that in mind. Gotta get my head down in here to stamp. I'm gonna stamp straight down and straight up. Okay, yep, I definitely can tell that I need to re-ink my ink pads because they were lovingly used this past weekend. Alrighty, and then this is gonna go up on with dimensionals. If anybody knows me, you know I'm gonna have to go back and re-stamp that so it's a nice and juicy image. But let's put on our gems. So if you had to take your pick tool, which I should have right on hand, it'd be easy to be able to maneuver this little brad here. It's not a brad, it's a self-adhesive gem, and I can't remember what they're called yet right now off the top of my head, but they're available in the annual catalog and they're just great. So there's that. Okay, that card is done. Let's move on to our third card. This card right here is such a beautiful card. So I use the dies in the stamp set that coordinate with Snowman Magic. The dies, I don't have them with me right now. Excuse that noise. I don't have them with me right now, but the dies are gorgeous and they actually create this framed background. I almost made this card a shaker card, but I wanted to use some of this pretty paper and it just all came together so beautifully, so I left it. All right, let's get the kit out for this. So when you get your kit open, I've already dropped a little snowflake. Okay, let me move this out of the way. When you get your kit, you're gonna dump it out. You're gonna have all kinds of goodies in there, in that envelope. I mean, the paper, isn't that just beautiful? So I'm gonna start from the bottom again. I guess that's just how I work. We're gonna fold the base of the card. And then this designer series paper is specialty paper. It's from, actually don't remember the name of it, but they've got iridescent snowflakes on there. I mean, I've used the heck out of this paper. It's so pretty. What you want to do is just add a little tiny layer of adhesive, because this is vellum, around the edges, and then you can even add a couple dots if you wanted to behind the flocking. There we go. And then we're going to decide which way we want it to go, not that it really matters. And then you're going to center this on your card. Okay, I'm back. Had a little coughing fit. All right, so we're going to keep going with this card. I used our foam strips, adhesive strips. You can use dimensionals on this as well. I just love these. They're perfect when you're wanting to make shaker cards or anything like that, but you can also use them just to give some dimension to your cards. And what I do is I just cut them up. I cut them to what I need them to be. Another cool thing about these strips is if you're happen to be doing a shaker card or you're using a circular card or something like that, you can actually bend the foam adhesive strips to go in the direction that you want it to. So there we go. Okay, I need to pull this down for just a second. And then you're just going to center this on your card as well. Okay, so you can see that there's some dimension there, right? Gives a nice little shadow box look. Now, when I was designing this card, this color of cardstock here is Fresh Freesia, which is a beautiful color. But when I stamped it, I don't know why, it just didn't really work for me. So the stamp color for the sentiment I'm using is actually Highland Heather. It's very rare that I do a different color than the cardstock, but I'm going to take this beautiful sentiment. I just love the font and everything about this sentiment. We're just going to stamp it right there. Okay. So if you have Fresh Freesia, use that. If you have Gorgeous Grape, use that. I mean, honestly, just about anything will work. So then to finish this card off, took some of this beautiful ribbon. I just added some adhesive, so I'll show you how I did that. Okay. I added adhesive to the back like that. So some of it is sticking out here. And then I just fold it over. So now we've got some more sticking out there, and then I fold it over again and then find somewhere to tack it to, and then that's it. That's how I create that little, there's really no exact science to it, but there we go. And then we'll just add that to the card front, and you're gonna have some of these iridescent rhinestones that I love, so you can embellish them however you'd like. And then I also threw in 3 of these little snowflakes that come from this die set that you can also continue to embellish your card with. So have fun with that card. It's just adorable and beautiful, and I hope you guys like it. Let's move on to our next card. Okay. I'm going to take the cards out of the cellophane so that there's no glare. So for this card is going to use a really fun punch. It's this trio punch here that's new in the holiday catalog, and I'm going to show you guys how to use it. It's a little confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, then it's super easy. Okay. Let's dump all our pieces out here. Even tied the bows for this one. Okay. So let's start with punching. So we're gonna fold our card base in half. And the way that this punch works is this right here punches an angle. So if you wanted a card that was angular, had angles on it like that, that's the side you would use. This punches out a notch, so you can put a ribbon through there if you wanted to. And then this punches out like this design, okay? So when you look at it, the punch from this angle, I always say that there's like a little bit of a shorter knob here and a longer knob here. So for this card, I lined up my long side of my cardstock with the longer knob. You want to push it in so it's flush, and you press straight down. And that's what it's going to cut for you. Then in order to do the other side, since this is longer, I had to flip it over, line it up, and punch down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. So I'm going to line up the long side. As you can see, this is the longer side, this is the shorter side. The longer side with that long knob. Make sure it's flush. And then repeat again on all four. I had to put a throat lozenge in. Excuse me. So hopefully you guys are okay with that kind of clanking around on my teeth. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with this white layer. Okay, so you can see I'm lining the longer side up with the longer knob. Flip it over. If you lined it up this way, the long side with the shorter knob, the swoop is just going to look different. It's still going to be really pretty, but it's going to look different. So you just got to remember that to keep it consistent all the way around. If you don't have that punch and you don't want to buy it, then this card will actually look beautiful without it. Okay, so just be aware of that. I just wanted to show a little bit of a technique or a product to my customers. And so I thought I would jazz that card up that way. So we're going to take the designer series paper. I'm going to go with it this way. And I'm just going to place it on my basic white, kind of in the middle. And then make sure your card opens up the correct way. And then we'll center this on here as well. All right. Now for our sentiment, we're going to use Shaded Spruce as your ink. I just grabbed the colors that kind of coordinate with the designer series paper. And this sentiment here comes from the Very Best Occasion, which actually coordinates with this. So if you were to get these two together, you get 10% off. This is the Very Best Trio Punch, the Very Best Occasions stamp set. We've got all these great sentiments here. And you can get them by themselves, or you can get all of that together as a bundle. Okay. There we go. And then I wanted to color in the little holly leaves. When you're using Stampin' Blends that are alcohol-based markers, you always want to have something to protect your workspace. With our stamping blends, to make sure that the integrity of the tip stays that way, you want to be really gentle with how you color. So I tell people to kind of almost treat it as like a brush stroke, or like a bristle brush, and you're using nice long strokes. Because this is so small, I'm going to go over to the nib side, nib end, and color this in. I love the alcohol-based marker because even though I'm coloring this in and it looks really dark right now, once it lightens up, the detail of the stamped image comes through a little bit more and just looks great. Right. And then I'm going to add some color to these little berries here. There you go. So cute. You're just going to adhere this to this piece and pop this up with Stampin' Dimensionals. And then in your envelope, you're going to have these pieces right here to embellish with, okay? So there's our final card. I'm going to move on to our next card. Okay. Here's our fifth card. We've got one more after this one. So this one uses the Jingle 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 stamp set, really cute stamp set, and created this very simple card with it. when I fold my card bases, I like to line up the open end to make sure I get nice even fold there. Okay. So this is also some vellum paper with some flocking on it that also coordinates with, or not coordinates, also goes with the snowflakes that we used earlier today. And then also the iridescent snowflakes that I mentioned before. Okay. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna adhere these pieces down like this, okay? And then you're gonna take and add your ribbon across it. And then you can just snip the ends of the ribbon. Okay, so you can see that they're open here. When you put this ribbon down, I recommend not using liquid adhesive for that. Okay, so I'm just gonna set that to the side and I'm gonna show you how to stamp the sentiment. Now, because you have a lined image and then an outline, like a line image and then a filler, I don't know what they call these, but we're gonna use Pool Party to stamp Believe, the inside part of it. You can do either way. You can either stamp the outside line, the outline first, and then the inside, or vice versa. I personally find that stamping the inside first is easier for me. So I'm gonna ink that up. I think it's inked up. We're just gonna kind of stamp right there in the center-ish. Great. And then we're going to take the outline, which is right here, in some real red. So that's fun in and of itself, but we're gonna line it with some red here, and it's gonna look really good. Okay, now I'm gonna have to probably stick my head in this camera shot for a second. What I do is I just hover over the letters until I feel like the outline is there, right? Yay, it worked. Okay, and then you can see that I've outlined it there. Keep this right out because we're gonna stamp in the magic, and there's other sentiments you can stamp too. So you can put Believe in the Magic. Oh, I guess that was it. I guess the 'Tis the Season to be Jolly goes together, and Jingle All the Way I thought these were interchangeable. Excuse me. So Believe in the Magic. Right underneath. I love that. Oh, and then you're going to stamp on some scrap paper. Just gonna grab some scrap paper here. Again, I think stamping the inside of the Santa hat and then the outside works better. Okay, and then you're gonna fussy cut that out. So I've already fussy cut. I already did that. There we go. Believe in the Magic. Super easy. After you've put this card together, you just put this on with some Stampin' Dimensionals and then decorate it with your rhinestones that you're going to have in your envelope, and this card is done. Okay. Move this out of the way. And we'll move on to our last and final card. Something to mention about that last card. If you don't have Jingle 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 and you don't plan to get it, that's okay. You can put anything you want here. Find a really large sentiments, holiday sentiment stamp, and you can put it there. Find a cute little Santa hat or a stocking or whatever and fussy cut it out and put it on top. You're going to have all the other pieces to create this card, and it's going to turn out just great. Okay, here's our final card. I love this card. We're going to do some coloring. All right, let's grab the pieces here. I think because I'm under the weather, I feel a little bit slower than usual. Hopefully this pace was okay for you guys. You can always fast forward or pause if I go too fast for some of you. Okay, love this gray granite here. This was inspired by some pumpkins that I saw that were kind of like a white gray color, and I just thought they were beautiful, and I wanted to come up with a card that showcased that. Okay, so we're gonna just take our designer series paper. This designer series paper is from Rustic Harvest. Okay, well, good enough. And then we're gonna take this designer series paper, which is also from that same paper pack. Okay. I thought I wanted to move that up a little. All right, there we go. And then we're gonna take this piece. This piece is basic white that's been cut out of using our deckled rectangles. They're really fun dies. So you can see that they put these like kind of, I guess, deckled edges on there, and it just makes the card so interesting and fun versus just a piece of white cardstock that I've cut. Okie dokie. So we're gonna take and stamp. Let me grab the pumpkin here. When you're using Stampin' Blends, you must use Memento black ink. So we're gonna ink this pumpkin up. Ooh, before we do the pumpkin, I always recommend to people to stamp your sentiment first, so you know your sentiment has made it on the card, and then you can kind of build from there. So we're gonna ink that sentiment up. You're such a blessing, right down at the bottom there. Okay. Ink this pumpkin up again. There we go. All right. And then you're going to take your gray granite marker. If I can find it. Here it is. Okay, so what I recommended was that people just take, and again, like I said, you're going to use nice long strokes here. Really light. You're never going to push the tip straight down, but you're going to kind of follow along with the lines that the artist has already drawn for you. Okay. And then I'll just kind of highlight it again. Okay. So now once you've got that layer, you can go in and then color it in. And the cool thing about our alcohol markers is that you can actually go back and add even another layer, and you can keep going to add some dimension to your card or to your image. So I don't know if you can tell, let me see if I can focus on this. If you can tell that I went back and did a little bit more shading in there and kind of followed the lines again to give it some dimension. Now for my class, because I didn't want everybody to spend too much time stamping and die cutting, I die cut these pieces out for them already. And then we use the Stamparatus. Now for you at home, if you've ordered this kit to go, and I actually have 2 extra kits left. So if someone's watching this and they want, it's first come, first serve, you can grab these kits and be able to create some beautiful cards. So what I would recommend you do is, well, if you don't have this stamp set, you can just use this as scrap, or you can do whatever you want with it. But this is what this piece is designed for, so that you're not confused. So we're gonna ink this up. I set it up like this for my classes so that it's really easy for them to just ink, bring it down and stamp. If they feel like they want it to be a little bit darker, then they can do that. So ink it up again, bring it down and stamp over it, okay? And then we just use this template over and over again right here so that people can create the same thing. So look at that, isn't that beautiful? Then what you're gonna do is I'll tell you the colors that I used. I used Mango Melody for the sunflowers. I used some Old Olive. Let me bring this in here. So this is Mango Melody, even though you, because I don't think we have a Daffodil Delight. We might. Actually, I think we do. Anyways, I use Mango Melody here. And then some Old Olive here. And then I used Blackberry Bliss, the light Blackberry Bliss for that. And I used Soft Suede for the middle of the sunflowers. And then I put some little dots of Calypso. Oh, no, not Calypso, Cajun Craze. So that's kind of how I colored it in. I won't sit here and color it so that you can, you know, so you guys can do it. But you get it, right? So you're going to turn this image right here into that. Very beautiful. So easy with our blends. And then what you will do is you will pop this up with dimensionals, and then you'll add your colored piece, which I actually already colored it. It's really fun to color these. You're just gonna put your color flowers right on top, popped up with the dimensional, and you guys are all gonna have some gray granite twine that you can place on your card. I recommend with a glue dot. Oops, let's get that focused. I recommend that with the glue dot. And so that's gonna be your finished project. Let me bring all the cards in to show you guys again. I hope that video tutorial was helpful. Here's the stamp set that I used. It's called Hello Harvest with that card right there. So we did that card, this one, this one, this one, and then we did the pop-up and this one. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions. Please do. I will leave the registration link below in the comment section for those of you who want to get one of these kits to go. It's $25 shipped to you, and it's only US customers, and I have 2 kits left. So once those are sold out, I'll just turn off the registration link. But I hope you enjoy this class, and next month it'll be the last weekend in November. We'll have 6 more cards and projects to share with you, and you can do the class in person in Sumter, South Carolina on that Friday night or Saturday morning, or you can order the kits to go. Another fun thing, if you are long distance from me and you enjoy how I design and you want to do a really fun event, paper crafting event, we have a stamp camp coming up. It's a holiday stamp camp that I collaborate with my friend Brenda Nelson from Canada. So we bring the Canadians and the Americans together. She and I both design projects featuring, actually featuring the Decorated with Happiness stamp set. I'll do a completely different video on this, but I just wanted to kind of give a little plug for that. And we have a live Zoom live event that we do on November 5th, but if you're not available on November 5th, don't worry, you can still register and you'll just get all the recordings emailed to you. And I think that's it. Oh, we do have a special guest that's going to be joining us, and that's Tanail Williams from Australia, and her designs are amazing. So I hope you guys check out that event, Holiday Stamp Camp with the Nelsons, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.